Hey, welcome in everybody. I wanted to take this time to welcome in Hunter Haight from the Iowa Wild joining us today. First off, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, how is your season going in Iowa so far this year?
It's been really good. Definitely an adjustment period. First time living on my own in an apartment and even further from home. But no, it's been really good. It's a great group of guys.
So, tell the fans a little bit about yourself, where you come from, and how did you get into the game of hockey?
So I'm from a small town. It's called Strathroy in Ontario. And yeah, I would say I got into hockey because of my dad. He played growing up. He played in the OHL for the Oshawa Generals. And played at university as well. So he's probably the main reason. I have an older brother as well. He started playing hockey before I did, and I kind of got to watch him. And then, yeah, I decided to skate and start playing. So kind of fell in love with it from there.
Well, for those that are not familiar, what is kind of the go-to thing or the most exciting to do in Strathroy? The thing that needs to be on their list if they go?
Honestly, I spent most of my time growing up in London or surrounding areas. There's not much to do in Strath. It's a very small town. Um, yeah, I spent a lot of it in London.
So you spent 2 seasons playing for the Saginaw Spirit, recording 43 goals, 75 assists. When did you start to know that that was the making of something magical as you guys were getting close to Memorial Cup?
Yeah, getting traded to Saginaw was obviously a really big thing for my career and kind of set me on a better path. And yeah, I love my time there. It's a great team, great organization, and yeah, we found out the in my first year in Saginaw that we'd be hosting the Memorial Cup, and it was obviously pretty cool. But we were worried about that first season and doing well in playoffs there. And we fell short of our goals. But yeah, over that summer, it was kind of, you're building up to that Memorial Cup year and there's excitement. And yeah, it was obviously a very eventful season and it was really cool.
Being able to bring Saginaw their first ever Memorial Cup, is it like the Stanley Cup? Did you guys each get a special day with it? And where did you take it?
Yeah, so it was actually a really cool process. We won it. That was a crazy game. It was so fun, friends, family, everyone there, everyone in the room after to celebrate and have a little party in the locker room with the cup. And after we all went home, we actually stayed like a week longer, just to hang out, go golfing, just do a couple things like that. And then we all went home and a schedule came out actually. And, you know, older guys got 2, 3 days with it, depending on, just how time frame worked, vacations that some guys are on. And everybody, we made sure that everybody got a day with it, which was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, for myself, we just had like a backyard party and friends, family, neighbors, they all just came over and took pictures with the cup, had a cake, all that stuff. And it was a really cool moment to share with people who've supported me throughout my hockey career and have been there since day one.
Now, the Iowa Wild just released video of you getting your Memorial Cup ring. Where is the ring currently? Is it something you show off at practice quite a bit, or does it sit on somewhere special at home?
No, it's actually just right over there, sitting on just on like a shelf. So no, it was pretty cool. My assistant general manager from Saginaw came and brought it to me, and it was nice to have my whole family there as well. They're in Grand Rapids at the time, and I got to share that moment with them too, and they got to see it and put it on. So it was really cool.
Did you end up playing against any of your fellow Iowa Wild players? And if you do you have to kind of go to the game just a little bit different, or nothing changes even though it's a future teammate?
No, nothing really changes. Yeah.
You were selected in the second round of the 2022 draft. What do you remember about draft day and the combine?
For me, the combine was a pretty cool experience. I was glad to be a part of it. You meet so many, other prospects that are, looking to show what they have to offer at the combine, whether it's through their meetings or in all the testing that we do. So it was really cool to experience all of that. It was the first time that I had done something like that, and yeah, I mean, those meetings are kind of intimidating when you're going through that process and it's hectic. But no, it was really, really fun time for me. It was a couple years ago now, but yeah.
Prior to the draft, did you have any meetings with Bill Guerin? Did you kind of know that was where you're going to go?
Well, in my draft year, the first questionnaire that I got was actually from the Wild, and it came in the summer before my draft season. So it was like, I've shown my parents, I've shown my brother. I'm like, look, like this is an email from an NHL team. Like this is pretty cool. And leading up to the draft, I didn't really know where I was gonna go or when. And at the combine, I had a really good meeting with the Wild's staff. Billy, he wasn't in the interview when I walked in and sat down. There was a chair that was missing. And he kind of just came through the curtain, and he just made it really fun and light, and it was a great interview. So yeah.
Now, do you get a little starstruck that first time you see Bill Guerin? Is it kind of intimidating, or what's the vibe like in that meeting?
Yeah, I mean, he's just a really fun character. Obviously he means business, but he was very welcoming, and it was almost easy to have a conversation with him. And he was just like another guy. But of course, like you're at that combine, all 32 NHL teams are there, all these big names. And yeah, it's intimidating in a way as an 18-year-old kid, but it's pretty special that you get to be a part of it.
Are there any other teams that you talk to that you want to drop their names, or is that kind of something you're keeping behind the curtain?
No, I mean, like for myself, like I wore 19 growing up. I wore the number 19, and that's because my dad's favorite player was Steve Yzerman. And I walked into that meeting and I was like, that's Stevie Y. I'm shaking his hand right now. So it's kind of cool moment, like cool to share that with my dad. And like dad, like I shook his hand, like that was his hero growing up. And yeah, it's just little moments like that are pretty cool.
When you're drafted, can you take us behind the scenes? What happens once you walk off that stage and you get done talking to the gyms? What's it kind of like after that?
It's a lot of time with well, I mean, first you're dealing with media stuff, and they're welcoming you. There's cameras, and you you almost don't know where to look at times. But right after that, they brought us up to a suite, and I got to meet everyone, bring my family up there, my friends, and yeah, they kind of send you on your way and congratulate you and welcome you into the organization. And we went out to dinner after, all my friends and family, and celebrated that way.
Now that you've been drafted, do you continue to watch any of the upcoming drafts to find out who your fellow teammates are? Or is it just kind of something you meet them later on when you guys get together during the summer?
Yeah, I would say like I pay close attention to players I've played with. I mean, I watched Zane Parekh go through his process this year. Obviously going to Calgary in the first round. And I mean, I lived with Michael Misa last year, and he's a really, really close buddy of mine. So it's going to be exciting to see what happens with him this year. And I'm super proud of him, and it's just fun to watch what he's doing right now in the OHL. So all the best to him, and I'll be excited for that.
So you mentioned growing up, Yzerman was kind of your dad's favorite player. Is that who you kind of tend to model your game after, or are there any other players you kind of look up to and you try to emulate things that you see?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a player like that I would pick out per se, but um, I was fortunate to grow up around Travis Konechny. We played for the same minor hockey organization, so I got to watch him go through his OHL draft and his NHL draft. So I would say elements of his game were a big thing for me growing up, and obviously he was just named to the Four Nations Team Canada roster, which is really cool to see. So yeah, probably him.
Who's taking the Four Nations tournament this year?
I'm biased. I got to go with Canada.
So I just saw I believe it was Faber. He was kind of joking around. If given the opportunity, you'd love to be able to score one on Gustafson outside of practice. But Gus said that's absolutely not going to happen this year. So how do you prepare for each game or shift? Do you have a certain routine you kind of go through? Any game day stuff that you kind of always make sure that you do?
Um, I don't know. Like I wouldn't say I'm a superstitious person at all. I mean, I would. I have routines. I have things that I do. I just, make sure I warm up properly and I'm eating the right things for pregame and drinking the right stuff, getting a coffee in, all those small things. And then, I mean, I guess I get dressed the same way every time, but I feel like every hockey player does. It's not to the point where it's going to be a bad game if I don't. I'm not really paying attention to it. It's just kind of it's habit at this point.
We recorded a hat trick way back on October 20th against San Jose. What do you remember about that game and about that hat trick?
Um, Honestly, my line was just playing really well. A lot of credit has to go to Michael Milne. Mikey was flying that game, and he was able to find me in good spots. I was in the right spot at the right time for those things, so I'm grateful for that. And yeah, props to him.
After that second one, you kind of start putting in your mind on one goal away, or you just kind of let the game develop, or do you look for those opportunities to kind of get that third one?
Honestly, no, I wasn't. I was kind of just starstruck that, I'd scored my first professional goal and then I had a second one and I just continued to play. That's all it was, is keep playing. We were losing that game, so that wasn't something that was in the back of my mind. It was, what can I do to help the team out? So, yeah,
So hats off to Michael Milne and that one also.
yeah, for sure.
So we have a list of questions from fans, and some of these questions actually came from some of the students I teach. They wanted me to ask some of these. The first one they want to know is, what's the best thing about being on the bus on a road trip, and what's the worst thing about being on the bus?
Um, I mean, I sit at the front of the bus, so I kind of have like my own space, which is nice. And I spend a lot of time just watching shows or reading. So it's nice quiet time when it's a long road trip, but at the same time, being on the bus can be kind of grueling, hard on the hips. But um, no, it's yeah, that's probably what I'd say. Just when it's a long bus ride, it's tiring sometimes.
What is your go-to food while you're on the road? Are there any snacks that you always are loading up before the games?
Um, like on a game day or just in general when we're on the road.
Oh, either one, on the road or on a game day.
I mean, I like chocolate. I'm a chocolate guy, so I like to have Hershey Kisses quite often on the road. That's a snack that you'll see me with. But on a game day, I don't know. I don't really snack on a game day. I kind of just make sure I have my protein, my carbs, and um, yeah, that's really it. Peanut butter, I guess, is a go-to on game day for me. But yeah,
Who's the best dressed when they come to the arena, and who's probably the worst dressed as they come to the arena, if you want to call them out?
best dressed. I would say Jonesy. Ben Jones is probably one of the better dressed guys. He's always wearing a flannel and jeans or something nice. And then worst, oh, I don't know. I haven't really paid attention to that. I mean, Europeans dress different, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Who are you rooming with on the road? Are there any fun stories that you want to share about life with your Wild roommate?
I've had two this year. Started with Dylan Ferguson, and then it got switched up a couple weeks ago. Don't know why. But I'm with Jack Peart now, and it's a fun room. Yeah, we just kind of hang out. Nothing too special, but we get along, which is always a good thing. So,
Now, if given the opportunity in your first NHL call-up, if you had to choose, who would you like to get that first NHL goal against?
and it honestly, wouldn't really matter to me. Playing an NHL game, that'd be a dream in itself. But I had to pick. Hmm. Yeah, I feel like scoring on someone like Vasilevsky or even like a Jeremy Swayman or a Igor Shesterkin. Like I think that would be pretty cool. But it'd also be pretty cool to play against like Toronto, just being my hometown team, and getting to score on them. That'd be pretty cool as well.
The majority of your teammates, when I've asked them in the past, have all said Vasilevsky. The one that said something different, the first one I ever did was Adam Beckman. That was back when Fleury was still playing for Chicago, and he said he'd like to score in Fleury. So
Yeah, I mean, growing up, Pittsburgh was one of my favorite teams. So Crosby, like I used to have a Flurry jersey little Penguins jersey when I was like 6 years old. So it was always a dream to play in the NHL, and getting to share the ice with them these past couple of years is pretty cool. And hopefully I get that chance to play with them at some point. But yeah.
Is there any significance in wearing the number 43 this year?
Honestly, that's the number I was given when I was drafted. That was my camp number, and it kind of just grew on me. Like I said, I'm not really superstitious. I wore 19 as a kid, and I switched to 37 when I went to Saginaw because Zane Parekh was wearing 19 and he didn't want to give it up. The staff didn't want to mess with that, so I respected that and wore 37. And when I knew that I was going to transition to pro this year, I was like, well, why not just keep my camp number? So 43 is what I went with, and I actually really like it now.
Is the team doing fantasy hockey this year or fantasy football?
I think the guys are doing fantasy football. I think there's a couple leagues going, but that's not me. I know nothing about football, nothing about fantasy. That no, I listen and I watch, but yeah.
So on off nights, did you and your teammates, you guys watch the big club? Do you guys take notes or kind of try to emulate things that you see from the Minnesota Wild?
Yeah, I do my best to watch games when I can. I watched the game the other night against Vancouver, and I mean, it was awesome to watch. Just the puck possession, how they play, how hard they play, winning battles, all those things, all those small details that you need to be good at and do on a consistent basis to play at that level. And just watching guys like Kirill and Faber do their thing, and the overtime was fun to watch. So.
Now, as you watch the games, do you kind of find yourself having a favorite Minnesota Wild player that you like to kind of cheer on?
Um, Honestly, not really. Like I've gotten to know some of the guys over the last couple of years, and I think it's just pretty cool that, I've gotten to share the ice and learn from them in the moment and in real time. And I kind of just like to watch what they're doing, see the decisions that they make out on the ice. I don't really watch anyone in particular. But yeah.
When you're on the road, what's the best AHL city to go to? And do you have a favorite spot you like to go when you're there?
Honestly, I haven't really been around yet. It's pretty early in the year to pick out a best city or whatever, but it was cool to be in California, in San Jose. That's the first time I've been um, out west, I guess, and um, yeah, it's my first time seeing a palm tree, so it was pretty cool.
Do you have any popular go-to warm-up songs that you really enjoy listening to, or who's got the best playlist in the locker room?
Um, Ryan Sandelin plays some pretty good music when he's on aux. So does Jonesy. Um, I don't really have a go-to. I kind of free flow with whatever's on, whether it's country or rock or I love the odd Nickelback, but yeah. Other than that, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a preference. That's definitely not something I want to control in the locker room either.
Some of the fans want to know, what are you binge watching on TV right now, or what do you recommend?
Well, I got to give credit to Brennan Gaunce and Sammy Walker because they got me on Harry Potter. I hadn't seen the Harry Potter series, and they're like, "Dude, you have to watch it." So, I watched that earlier in the year, and then I actually just finished Game of Thrones like yesterday. So, Game of Thrones is probably like my all-time favorite show right now. It's pretty awesome. I'll probably watch House of Dragons eventually, but yeah,
So speaking of Harry Potter, if you were sorted into a house, which house is Hunter going into?
probably Gryffindor. Yeah.
Some of the fans want to know, are you guys watching Shorzy, and what are your takes on the show?
I love that show. I think it's hilarious. It's pretty funny that they shoot it out of the Sudbury Wolves their rink, and it's just yeah, it's comedy. It's so funny, and it's all these shots at hockey players and our what we're like and all how people expect us to be. It's pretty funny, all the stereotypes in that show.
If you weren't playing hockey, what would you like to be doing? Would you continue with sports, or is there something else that you kind of gravitate towards?
I was a soccer player growing up. I stopped playing at like 15. Soccer was always fun, but I kind of had to decide between hockey and soccer, and hockey was a no-brainer for me. I loved it so much more than soccer. But that'd be a cool profession to also go for. But um, my dad's a police officer with the Ontario Provincial Police, and my brother is actually applying to the OPP as well. And he's in the military the last 3 years. So that's probably where I'd find myself is it's kind of in my blood. My uncle's also a police officer, so he's actually a pilot with the RCMP. So yeah,
Thank you to your family for their service for that.
yeah.
So, so in the off season, are there any places in Iowa that you haven't had a chance to see that you would love to go and see for the first time?
Places in Iowa. I'm still so new. I don't really know what's around, what to do. I guess I missed the Iowa State Fair. I heard that's something that you should go do when you can, but yeah, I don't know. You'll have to give me some advice.
Any special hidden talents that you're willing to share with the fans?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. Hidden talents. No, I don't know.
So, what's the best thing about the Iowa Wild fans?
Um, I would say just their support. They're so passionate. In warm-ups, you see them with their signs and all the kids that are cheering for you, and it's just, encouraging as a player to see them come out and support us each and every game at home. So yeah, we thank them for that.
Speaking of the fans and the kids, what advice do you have for kids that have not played the game of hockey or want to get into it and develop their skills?
I would say just try it. You might like it, and if you do, go at it with open mind, have fun. That's the most important thing is to make sure what you're doing is what you love. You'll build a passion for whatever you're gonna do in life, and if it's hockey, then go for it. I would say hard work's one of the most important things you got to bring with it, but the most important thing is to have fun when you're doing it.
What is something you want Minnesota Wild fans to remember about you as they look back, they see your name coming up in the NHL, and they're watching this? What is something that you want them to know about you?
Um, I would say that um, I'm persistent in the betterment of myself, whether it's on the ice, in the community as a person. I'm always pushing myself to be my best, and um, I'm always pursuing, to be better than I was yesterday. And that's what I'm going to bring, and that's what it takes to get there. So
Until next time, this is Tom and Hunter saying, as always, go wild.
take care.